Hello, I'm Kelly Cox, and I'm glad to have you here today. Today I want to talk to you about procrastination. And we often kind of have goals and objectives in our life, and we have this plan and things like that. And it's pretty easy to kind of be forward thinking or future thinking and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start this workout or whatever it is, and you're excited about it, and you kind of think you're ready to go, but then it comes time to take action, and you just kind of like for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. And you think to yourself, why is this not happening? Well, we have these internal voices in our head. There's kind of a subconscious level. There's this kind of dialogue going on, and it's our subconscious mind is kind of talking to us, and often we're not even aware of this. And really, the subconscious mind is there really to protect us, to keep us safe. And that's great if you live in a world where there truly is a lot of things that are unsafe. In prehistoric times, you didn't want to go out and get eaten by that lion or something like that. But we've adapted to where really we live in a relatively safe environment. Yet the subconscious mind interprets anything abnormal or foreign to us as potentially unsafe. And so it's going to do things to try to kind of get us to not take action because it's really trying to protect us. And so, like I said, there's times that this is good, but there's times that this is actually detrimental to you because it's the action you need to take is really something you really need to do or something you should do. And so these voices kind of become kind of accomplices, if you will. So there's friends to support and help you and move forward. But then there's what I call accomplices, and that means that there's someone that's still working with you, but they're really kind of working with you in a way that's not good or producing bad things, if you will. Now, so I want to talk to you about these voices. Now, Dan Lok, he does a great presentation, and he kind of breaks these down. And he calls these procrastination demons, and he kind of breaks it down into different demons. And I kind of want to go over that. The first demon that kind of stops you from doing things, or the first procrastination demon, is the perfectionist. Okay, that's someone that says, I need to do X, Y, and Z, but things aren't perfect. Okay, so use the analogy of doing a push-up. You decide, tomorrow I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start by doing push-ups. Well, that time comes and you sit there and go, well, the perfectionist starts to question themselves. Well, is my hand spacing correct? Is my form correct? Am I dressed appropriately? And you really, that voice starts to tell you that things aren't perfect yet. So now's not the time. And so that really gets you to procrastinate because the perfectionist in you is going to be telling yourself, no, don't go because things aren't perfect. So that's one of the inner demons. So the other another one is called the kind of the lazy good for nothing, and this is the one that's kind of telling you, we'll do it later. Let's watch this Netflix thing. Let's watch one more episode. Let's go get something to eat. And really just kind of trying to find all these reasons not to do it, and the reasons aren't really good, but they're less painful or actually rewarding to you. So you kind of listen to that voice, and you don't end up doing whatever you need to do. The next voice would be what's called the measurer. This is where you're comparing yourself to kind of others. So you think, okay, I'm going to start doing push-ups. So wait a minute, my friend can do 30. I don't think I'm able to do 30. So I better not start yet because I'm just not ready. And so you're kind of comparing yourself to the external world. And so you kind of talk yourself out of doing it because you're measuring what you think your performance is going to be to others, and that's going to stop you, from doing it. The next procrastination demon is the futurist. And that's the voice that's in your head that says, well, what if I do this and I don't get the results I want? Or or they're producing things that are byproducts that I didn't anticipate and they're bad things. So I shouldn't even undertake this because I think it's going to give me X, Y, or Z, but the reality is in the future it might not, and therefore it really isn't worth it, and I shouldn't do it. So they kind of tell themselves a story that if they do it, it may not produce the results they want, and therefore let's don't even undertake it. The next voice is what I would call kind of the idiot or the procrastination demon idiot, and this is someone that basically they know what they're supposed to do, but they just don't do it. They just say, I just don't understand it yet. And this is kind of similar to the perfectionist, but the perfectionist is really driving on, I need to be perfect Whereas the idiot's just kind of saying, I just don't know how to do it. Let's go watch some YouTube videos, or let's go read a book about it before we undertake this. I'm just not qualified to do it. So it's like the perfectionist, but it's on kind of other end of the spectrum, because they aren't striving to be perfect. They're just saying, I just don't know how to do it. So I'm not going to do these other things to kind of get myself ready to do it. The next procrastination demon is the dumb listener. And you see this all the time, that people will say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then their friend says, oh, no, no, no. You don't want to do push-ups. You want to do cardio. That's the better thing for you. And so you just start kind of listening to the external world, telling them what they should be doing as opposed to what they have planned to do. And those things basically become kind of in opposition to what you're trying to accomplish. And so you end up not doing anything because you're listening too much to this external world. You see this all the time on Facebook, where people will put a question out there and they're looking for a response, and they're getting responses, but they don't know anything about the qualifications of these responses. And so they're starting to allow this to influence their behavior. And the reality of it is that they didn't need to do that in the first place. They need to basically go ahead and start to execute on their plan. The next procrastination demon is what we call the hopper. And this is someone that basically starts something and then quickly moves on to something else. And so they're never giving their plan time to produce any results. And so, so they start push-ups, and day 3, they're like, you know what, I just don't feel stronger. I don't look any bigger. My clothes is not fitting any different. I'm gonna try something else. And so they're basically jumping and jumping from plan to plan to plan. And so they never stick to a plan long enough to really do things. So that's one of those voices in your head that you need to kind of silence, because it's trying to get you to move to something else. Really what it's trying to do is just get you to not move at all. But it's doing that by telling you, well, maybe we should try this, or maybe we should try that. And it kind of creates confusion for you. The final one is what I call the troublemaker. Okay. And this voice is basically telling you, let's use the example of push-ups. It's saying, you can't do a push-up here. The floor is dirty. You're not ready for this. You don't have the right equipment. You're not trained. And they're really kind of just disrupting your plan by basically trying to point out all these potential negative things. And they're really kind of demotivating you to even execute on your plan. So these are kind of some of the demons. We all have demons in our head that are doing this. And one of the things you need to work on is becoming more aware of these demons in your head, not necessarily responding to them. In fact, the more awareness you can create, the more then you can say, hey, I hear you, but I'm not going to listen to you. And so as we kind of elevate our awareness of this, that's one of the things we can do to overcome these procrastination demons, is to really understand, why today did I have a plan to do X, Y, or Z, and now I'm pushing it off? What's stopping me? What's that friction point? And really what it is it's going to be one of these procrastination demons. So well, how do you overcome these demons? The simplest way is just start. Okay, so when it comes time to start to execute your plan, you just start. You're going to have all these voices in your head telling you all the reasons that you shouldn't start, specifically if it's something that's unfamiliar to you or new or stretching you out of your comfort zone. These voices are going to be screaming at you. And you really just need to say, I hear you, and I'm still starting. Okay. The next thing is you need to accept that, hey, I can learn as I go. So I don't need to have this perfectionist mindset or the idiot mindset. I can say, hey, I'm going to start. And by starting, it's going to create me the opportunity to learn. And as I start and continue to go, I'm going to grow and become more efficient at it and better at it. And that's part of the plan. So these voices can tell me all the reasons I'm not ready. And they may be somewhat truthful in the sense that I'm not 100% ready. But how I'm going to get to that point is actually starting and then learning from the process. And the next thing you need to do is you need to describe your future self in a positive term. So often I hear people, when they say they want to lose weight, but when you talk to them about their description of themselves, they really describe themselves really negatively. I'm overweight, I can't move, I can't breathe, all these negative things. And you need to really reframe that with your future self into more of the self of what you're striving to be, in more of a positive light, that I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I'm working for that. And so therefore, I'm putting in the work. I deserve to have that. And so you need to look at your future self in a positive light. Next thing you need to do is when you develop your plan, you need to define what your minimum expectation is. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're going to do start doing push-ups to increase your health. And you need to really think about in the plan, how long am I going to run this plan? Because there is a point in life that sometimes the plan is the wrong thing to do, and you need to pivot to something else. Okay, but the reality of it is often we start kind of that pivot really because we're being driven by frustration because we aren't progressing like we want to do. So we abandon a plan too early. And so really you need to say, okay, I'm going to do, push-ups daily for the next 12 weeks, and then I'll reevaluate. Don't let the plan be impacted by your frustrations that happen during the plan. So if your plan already says, I'm going to give it this much time until I reevaluate, is this plan the right thing? Then it's going to help you not quit, because you are going to have frustration during execution of a plan that's a new plan. And sometimes it is you've got to give this plan time to really formulate and form the results you're pushing for. So if you predetermine, hey, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm doing push-ups, I'm gonna do it for 12 weeks and then I'll reevaluate it, versus I'm doing push-ups with no time period minimum, and then day 3 you're like frustrated, so you're like, I'm just abandoning this plan. So if you can define kind of a minimum kind of amount of time of how long you're going to stick to this plan, it's gonna help you. And then the final thing is really get a coach. Anything you do in life, whether it's business, personal, financial goals, health goals, whatever it is, a coach is going to help you significantly. And what a coach does for you is, first of all, they help you see your blind spot. So by definition, a blind spot is something you can't see. So you may be behaving in a way that you don't understand or see the impact it's having on you, and a coach is going to help you kind of course correct that. Secondarily, they're going to make it easier for you because they're probably going to have tools or suggestions, things you can do that allow you to produce the results you want without going through some of these negative things that other people have gone through, because a coach has that awareness on things you can do. So these are just some things. Procrastination is a real thing. We all struggle with procrastination, and remember, listen to that voice, acknowledge those internal voices, but then understand you don't have to do what that voice says. And if it's one of these demons speaking up, then acknowledge it, but then go ahead and move forward and execute and accomplish whatever goals you're set out for. So again, this is happening kind of in your mind, and more you can create your awareness, the more likely you're going to be successful. So again, you got this. And if there's anything we can do for you, just let us know. Thank you.